Okay, now here is another iconic image. It's made it on the hardcover. I love it. It's one of my favorite drawings. Again, unfortunately, these are warm-ups for me getting used to doing the black and white sketches again. It had been decades since I had done these kind of sketches, since I was in the movie industry when I was in my mid-20s actually, early 20s, mid-20s. Um, and that's when I learned this technique. But look at this. This is just, it's Frazetta, the Spartan. It looks like it just came out of the movie 300 with Frank Miller. It's just this really powerful image of a uber alpha male masculine type, right? So if we're talking about a heroic masculine type, that is it right there, my friends. So it has similar qualities to the one we just talked about a minute ago. But look at how, like the vein network, even how it ties together with like the deltoid into the vein, back into the hand. We've got all these sub rhythms within the rhythms. So we've got this beautiful lyrical wedging of the brachioradialis, wedging into the tricep tendon, the horseshoe shape of the long head and the short head of the tricep as it wedges around the deltoid heads. And look at that choice to make a really strong wedge shape here versus softening it like it probably would be in reality. This gives it more of a sculptural integrity and makes the person look even more chiseled. So you're taking an already ripped up individual and ripping them up even more. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you're creating the armor for Iron Man, the exoskeleton, would you not want it to look more like that versus a soft doughiness to it? You'd want it to look chiseled like a machine because it is a machine. How about, some armor for some movie where you want the characters are kind of in these exoskeleton but they want to be able to move fluidly. So maybe it morphs around their musculature, but it's more chiseled, more dynamic, and has a stronger sense to it. Maybe it's made out of Kevlar or something, or some kind of pliable new material that we don't even have yet. So we're talking about, if you're designing for some, avatar or something, it could be anything. Now look at this kind of the way that you can almost see the pelvic bone, the haunch bone. You can see where I made an indication for where the great trochanter, that's the outer protuberance of your femur, your upper leg bone. What is this muscle right here? It's the tensor fascia latii, the hip flexor, as it wedges in. Why is it white right here? This is the webbing of the iliotibial band as it comes down the side of your leg and keeps your lateralis muscle from popping off your leg. It's like a rubber band that comes down, right? And if you watch like a soccer player that's sprinting down the field and is kicking the ball and putting all of his weight on his leg, you'll see a little X shape. It's an X shape that is caused again by the interaction of the iliotibial band with the pinching of the actual lateralis, which is the outside head of your quadricep. Okay, notice how I know these names, right? And it's not to impress you, but it is to say that yes, if you are ever going to teach this, for God's sakes, learn the names of the muscles, because otherwise, this thingamajigger here around this other thingy, I don't know, it's this long thingy here. It just dumbs it down, it blows your credibility, and it makes you sound like a buffoon. And I was one of those guys for a long time. So I'm just saying, it was a sculpting teacher of mine that sat me down and said, listen, you draw so amazing. If you would just learn the muscles to match with that, you would be unstoppable in anatomy. And I took it to heart because this guy was an incredible sculptor and a great friend of mine. And then I spent a year at least with a little couple Xeroxes I would take everywhere. If I sat down and I was at the doctor's office, I would pull that out. Instead of sitting looking at my iPhone, sitting and doing something like browsing Facebook, I would sit and memorize one or two muscles. And I would recite them over and over. That's the iliotibial band. That's the iliotibial band, iliotibial band. And I'd just say it to myself. And I would say it over and over. And then once I got it, I would highlight it on my little cheat sheet that came out of Elliot Goldfinger's book. And I would then move on. And I would learn all the surface morphology to start with. And then I got kind of addicted to that. And I went into the deeper muscles. As you saw in my sketchbook, well, my sketchbook is full of it. And that'll be for sale at some point. So you guys will be able to pick that up for a very reasonable price. And it'll even be another layer of anatomy. So anyway, I'm all over the place, but I hope it's inspirational and fun for you to listen to my banterings about what I'm thinking about with all these shapes. Look at a nice lost edge there, right? Just boom. Remember, when you're doing this technique, the black is the shadow. You don't have to work up to the shadow. You have to go the other direction. So it's a bit of a mind bender at first, but wonderful practice for you. Okay?